Thank you for staying with us, and a warm welcome to those who've just joined us. Now, police are investigating a case of murder and attempted murder following a shooting incident in Midrand earlier today. A father and son were traveling together when their vehicle was shot at by unknown suspects. The son was shot dead while the father sustained injuries. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the father is a liquidator involved in some high-profile cases. For more on this, I'm joined by anti-crime activist Yusuf Ambramjee. He joins us virtually. Mr. Ambramjee, thank you very much for your time. Just firstly, do you have any details about what happened? Was it this evening?
Good evening, Masejo. Well, we can confirm that this incident took place at about 2:30 this afternoon. The name of the victim and his son was shot dead have been confirmed. It was insolvency practitioner Clutter Murray and his son Thomas. His son Thomas was shot dead. So from the information we have, is that the father and son, Clutter and Thomas, were traveling in a white Toyota Prado on the N1 North from Johannesburg to Pretoria, apparently going back to their Pretoria home. At the N1, on the N1, near the New Road off-ramp, right in front of the engine filling station, while they were driving, gunmen came alongside their white Toyota Prado and opened fire, apparently with handguns. A few dozen shots were fired. The vehicle then pulled off to the side. The son was in the passenger seat. He was shot dead. He died at the scene. And I'm told that Clutter Murray was hit at least twice in the head. He's in a critical condition, and he was rushed to a hospital in the Sunning Hill area where he's receiving treatment. Now, we know that Clutter Murray, by the way, his son Thomas was, I'm told, a legal advisor, Masejo. Clutter Murray was involved in a number of high-profile liquidations, including the Bosasa case, including a number of the Gupta companies, and also some other high-profile cases. He was on record last year as saying, while there was a dispute at the Master's office in Pretoria where two senior officials were suspended, he said that there was an attempt to get rid of him, and he was very worried at the time. And it appears that this particular incident today, Masejo, was clearly an attempted assassination on him, and in the mix of it all, his son got shot dead. Clearly a targeted attack in broad daylight on one of South Africa's busiest freeways. And until a few minutes ago, the N1 North from Ellendale was backed up right to the New Road off-ramp, and traffic had to be diverted. And I'm just told that a few minutes ago, the police removed the victim's vehicle from the scene, but investigators were still combing the area for clues.
So clearly this is a case that police need to pay much attention to, especially when you mention threats that he received and the type of, companies that he liquidated.
Indeed, let's not forget that the Bosasa case was very, very high profile. The Gupta case was high profile. We don't have any evidence to link it to those particular cases, but clearly a lot of questions need to be answered. We know that in 2020, Gavin Watson was shot dead, you recall, Masejo, right in front of the OR Tambo International Airport while en route to catch a flight. That particular case has not been solved. We know in the state capture investigation there have been a lot of allegations, threats, counter threats, etc. So I think this does raise a number of questions. We also know that Clutter Murray at one stage mentioned that he wanted to, or I haven't confirmed whether a 417 inquiry into Bosasa was underway. That inquiry raises a lot of questions. It creates a lot of fear amongst the people, especially those that may be implicated in any wrongdoing. I think he was very firm on that. And I think the 417 inquiry also put a lot of pressure on him. And there were suggestions at the time that why was he even appointed as a insolvency liquidator, because he picked up allegedly a lot of wrongdoing, especially within the Bosasa group of companies.
And Gavin Watson, in fact, died in a car accident. But I remember the controversy around that, especially because he was just days before. It was just days before he had agreed to a date to testify at the Zondo Commission. But in terms of this particular case, Yusuf, you were also telling us about shots that have been fired. He was shot twice in the head. Do we know in total how many shots were fired at that scene? If anyone else was injured?
Yes, Masejo, thank you for clarifying. Yes, apologies. I said that Gavin Watson was shot dead. That was allegedly a motor vehicle accident right in front of OR Tambo. And a lot of questions were raised to say, was it a hit? Was it all set up? Those questions still haven't been answered. But as far as this particular incident is concerned, we are told that a few dozen shots were fired while the car was moving. The car was then came to a stop near the emergency lane right in front of the N1, that filling station, the engine filling station. From the indications we've had from people that were in the vicinity, they say they heard a variety of shots being fired. The entry holes into the vehicle apparently doesn't appear to be from an AK-47 or an R4 or an R5 rifle. It appears it was a handgun, but clearly happening in broad daylight on one of South Africa's busiest freeways does raise a question. It shows you how brazen these people are. It shows you that we are living in the Wild West, and we know that assassinations have almost become a weekly occurrence in South Africa, and these attackers have no fear. If they want to take you out, they'll take you out in broad daylight. And we know that the N1 has a series of cameras and video footage that is captured. So it will be interesting to see if police will be able to make a breakthrough swiftly in this particular incident.
We hope they are able to, especially when you mention those cameras. Yusuf Ambramjee, thank you so much for your time. He is an anti-crime activist.